Hi everyone, my name is Jack. I'd like to detail my Linux journey. I started using Linux when I was 12 years old in March 2020. 17 now. Um, I installed it myself. Like I kind of just one day I read about it and it reminded me that Linux is actually something that exists. So I just kind of installed it on my laptop on my gateway all-in-one PC. It was kind of a struggle because I downloaded the ISO file one day, but I didn't have a USB thumb drive and I couldn't get one. So the next day, I think I went to the dollar store and got one and put it on there, and it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty simple. And after that, I actually had my first experience with like Python and using the command line. It was pretty cool actually. I think after it was like with like the day after I installed Ubuntu, I switched to like Linux Mint, or like I switched distros like 6 or 7 times like in the first 2 days. I was a crazy kid. I don't know why I did that. Probably just and I should mention that they were all on one. I had them all installed at the same time on some like 500 gigabyte hard drive. So that was just madness. I don't know what I was doing. Actually, that's kind of crazy thinking about it. So I had like 5 or 6 distros and Windows all installed on one 500 gigabyte hard drive. So it was absolutely bizarre. And I think I just kind of kept learning about the command line, kept learning about that stuff a little bit until probably September when I figured, I did actually try installing Arch within the first week, but I was I saw that it was a command line install and abandoned that. But I think in September of 2020, I installed Arch with KDE Plasma desktop for the first time. I watched a video by I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he made a few videos. I don't think he uploads anymore. But yeah, I installed Arch with KDE Plasma, and then I learned about the command line. I learned about I kept learning about the different features of Linux, GNU/Linux, and I think next year. Wait, I can't remember. At some point, okay, so it would have been 2021. At some point in 2021, I started watching Luke Smith. Great. I really like Luke Smith. I think he's actually, he makes a lot of great points on both Linux and life, basically. So I think, but I started watching Luke Smith, and I learned about scripting. I think I installed his LARBs, is Luke's auto-rising bootstrapping script. It's just DWM window manager with his programs and his customizations, and I could not figure out how to use it. Like I think it was I can't remember, but there was some small thing that I didn't like, so I decided I'd install i3 gaps or just i3. I probably i3 gaps, but from there I kind of learned about tiling window managers, and I guess I just kind of customized i3, and then I never really used LARBs too much, but I think I used it for a little bit, and I installed it on one of my ThinkPads. I got my first ever, like the first ever computer that I purchased, like the first ever. Well, I mean I've purchased desktops, but I think let's just say this: the first ever ThinkPad that I bought was a ThinkPad T530, and I upgraded it. I upgraded the RAM, put an SSD in there, and it was great. That I think I installed LARBs and used it on there for a little bit, but then I kind of figured out from watching both DistroTube and Luke Smith how to customize GWM, and I figured out how to write my own scripts. So I used GWM for a while, and I learned about scripting. That was something that was pretty great. That is very important in my Linux journey. Like I love scripting. I love using the command line. Yeah, so I think nothing really happened there for probably about a year. Like I just kind of, was tinkering around with stuff. And at some point I got involved in like home servers, home lab, that kind of stuff, where I had a PC. I had a PC and I set up like a server. I had various applications, home lab services on there, and that's where I kind of really got more involved and researching and learning about like managing Linux servers and that kind of stuff. So it kind of really increased my knowledge with that. Yeah. And at some point so this was actually probably, I don't know, at some point probably between 2021 and 2022, probably in 2021 I installed Gentoo for the first time. I use Gentoo now. And now, I think I learned a lot from my Gentoo install, actually. Just learning the commands and how to basically how a Linux system is built. Kinda. I mean, I'm not really a developer. That's something about me. I don't really code. I kind of just am more of a. I don't even. I don't. I also don't do IT. I'm more of a I'm just a desktop person. Like, I just kind of use a desktop for basic things that most people who don't have a profession, like they don't work in IT. I just use it like a normal person. Let's just say that. Um, I use it for editing documents. I use it for, you know, emails. But I have a really efficient system with scripts and that kind of stuff. I use, yeah. So I'm just a normal person. Um, but I learned so much about the system. It's pretty great. And I probably took a 6 month, like in 2020. Like, I don't know if it was at some point I kind of didn't use Linux for like 6 months. I can't remember when it was. This isn't. Uh, now at this point in the video, it's kind of like not very structured. But I'll say this: at some point in like 2024, 2020, yeah, 2024. Let's just say that. Um, I think I stopped using Linux for like 6 months. I used Windows, and it was. I still, I kind of regret that. Like, I could have been learning so much about the GNU Linux system, but instead I just kind of lazed around on Windows. Yeah, but now I'm on Gentoo. I have I don't have an as intricate system as I used to. You know, I don't really have it all scripted out. I kind of do, like certain things. I'm beginning to get more back into Linux more. Like, yeah, I used Arch for a while. I don't know. I still kind of distro hop all the time because I don't do anything important. I don't have it. I don't store anything important at this point in my life. School documents and that kind of stuff. Half the time they can just go in like they can just be wiped away. So I can basically switch Linux distros as much as I want. It's kind of pointless. I'll say that the distro that you use almost does not matter. I'm kind of the, in theory, I'm of the belief that if it isn't broke, there's no need to fix it by installing another distro. But in practice, I actually kind of just am reinstalling my system all the time to start again. It's stupid. It is. Yeah. But that's kind of where I am. That's kind of where I am. I didn't know, so I did not know that there were only any other desktop Linux users in my small town. But actually, I just randomly found out that one of my friends, well, probably my greatest friend, actually use Linux. I just kind of found that out, which was, I guess it's becoming more popular these days. But it was just kind of weird to to see someone that uses Linux. I just thought I'd mention that. Yeah. Anyways, I think if you're new in your Linux journey, recommend watching DistroTube videos. And then if you advance a little bit further, I'd recommend watching Luke Smith. Like I said, I love his takes on life and Linux and technology and everything like that. He's an excellent channel to watch. Yeah, that's what I'd say. That's really all. This was kind of a pointless video, to be honest. I don't recommend sharing this video, but if you like the video, yeah, give it a like. I don't know. Subscribe if you like this kind of style of video, which is kind of what I'll make from now on. I think I don't have I don't know I don't have a lot of information. That's like I know stuff, but I feel like it's stuff that people already know, so I kind of or people have already shared online, so I just kind of don't do it. But if there's anything you'd like to know about Linux or how to do something, basically, I'm not gonna make home server stuff right now. But if you have any, like, if you're a desktop user and you want to figure something out, and you want someone to make a video on something, let me know and I'll see what I can do. I'll see if something I know about, and I'll make a video. Yeah. Thanks for watching, anyways, folks, and bye.